Welcome to a quick video on the ORD SDK and how to get it running inside the Visual Studio. I'm going to go over how to build a small batch script to set the variables correctly, and then I'm also going to go over how to use the debugger and run ORD from Visual Studio in order to make changes. I hope this video will help you. And this is definitely not the only way of setting up your Visual Studio, but I think it is the easiest way. When you have installed the OpenRoads Designer SDK, you'll notice that inside the program files Bentley OpenRoads Designer Connect SDK directory, you have an OpenRoads Designer developer guide. That will go into details on how to compile things for managed and for unmanaged, and in most cases this will work for you. This video will show you an alternative way of setting up your Visual Studio to sidestep one problem that I had in the managed SDK examples, that the open solution BAT does not seem to work. I had trouble running that. The OpenRoads SDK is designed to work with the DLLs that are shipped with OpenRoads Designer. That means that it won't have any DLLs shipped with the SDK deliverable, and instead it needs to know where OpenRoads Designer SDK is. What you see here is just opening the solution file, a project file inside of a text editor, and you'll see that that solution file that we shipped with the application uses a variable called ORD. This variable isn't magically set unless you set it yourself or is done by a script. Here is a script that does exactly that. It sets the ORD variable to the location of your OpenRoads Designer directory, and then it also needs to know what Visual Studio you're using and where the solution file is, in this case the managed SDK examples solution file, and then it just runs the Visual Studio with the solution file. This is probably not the most elegant way of doing it, but it worked for me. So the most important thing is that you set the ORD variable before you run Visual Studio. And the ORD variable, as you can see, does not have quotes around it, which surprised me for a minute, but this is the best way that I could find to start Visual Studio with the ORD variable set. Then what I did was I made a shortcut. I gave it a tree as its icon. I called the batch file that I just created, and I made sure that we of course run this as administrator, because the result will have to be stored inside OpenRoads Designer directory, the MLD apps directory, so that you can access it from there. So that is important. And yeah, that's it. You can give it a nice icon if you want. That's what I did. And the result is as follows. And then here in Visual Studio, after you open your shortcut, you'll see that in the references, they're no longer complaining about your references not being found. They all know where to find it because the ORD variable is set. Even more important, if I now right-click and rebuild, you'll see that it built successfully and it generated a managed SDK example DLL inside your MDL apps directory. Simple as that. With this, you can now start debugging, as I'll show you next. Debugging anything to do with the managed SDK example is pretty simple. If you click debug here, you can attach to the process, in this case OpenRoads Designer. This works pretty good. but I like to go here to Properties and set an external program on the Debug tab. And let me just browse here, and I've got this already set up. If I go to the program directory, Bentley, OpenRoads Designer, CE, and then OpenRoads Designer. In here you'll find OpenRoads Designer, of course. You use that, so save now. And if I press F5 or just run here, then it will start OpenRoads Designer. As you can see. Here we are in OpenRoads Designer. In most cases, your managed SDK examples will not be loaded yet. In order to load that, there's a key in. And you can see my history here already. But if you type in MDL load managed SDK example, just like that, you press enter. And at the bottom, you'll see, in your case, probably managed SDK example it loaded successfully. In my case, it was already loaded, but that is all you need to do to get the managed SDK examples to load. And that means that now if you type in managed as examples, you'll see that there is all these managed examples that come with our SDK. In this case, create civil cells, corridor items, horizontal alignments, and stuff like that. So here we are back in Visual Studio, and we have a running OpenRoads Designer started from Visual Studio. And now what we can do is we can explore the examples that come with the SDK. So for instance, if I go into the arc creator here, I can see that there's a create arc from points, and I can see that there's 3 points created and makes an arc between them, and it stores it in the connection. So if I want to see what's going on here, I can make a breakpoint. Let's put it here where there's a circular arc created and see if I can hit that breakpoint. So I go back to OpenRoads Designer, and I have this managed SDK examples create horizontal alignment arc. I start the tool, I set first data point, second data point, and then third data point, and the third data point calls this function apparently. You can see the start point, the end point, the through point, everything like that. The nice thing about starting it from Visual Studio is that now I can actually edit the code while this is going on. So I can say maybe the start point, I always want to have the start point, this doesn't make a lot of sense, but 100 further to the right. Then you can save that, and as you can see, it's no problem, and then continue that. And then the next time I start my tool, so I can say created horizontal alignment then. If I click on the same points as I did before, similar points at least, you'll know that it ran through the start point, and press F5 to get there, and you'll see that the start point has moved over 100, I think in this case meters, is it feet? You get the point. If you got this far in the video and you were able to follow it, then I recommend you look through the other examples that are there. There are some really important ones that you'll learn a lot from, but I guess you have a specific reason that you're wanting to use the Civil SDK. So try to find something that fits close to that. I don't think we fully covered the full SDK in our examples, but there are some really important ones in there. And after that, explore the objects that come from there, like a corridor, alignment, or look at the different values of that. I will try to make some more videos on the specific data structures inside the SDK, and I hope to make those soon. But there's a lot of value already to be gained from the examples here, so that you know. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope this was helpful.